الحمد لله رب العالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ويتولى الصالحين وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. So tonight, instead of doing the 40 hadith, the explanation of the 40 hadith, being that Ramadan is so close, inshallah ta'ala, we just want to take some benefits as it relates to fasting. Some benefits and some rulings as it relates to fasting the month of Ramadan. So Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, alayhi rahmatullah, he said, commenting upon the statement of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, which is found in the hadith Jibreel alayhi salam, when he came to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam in the form of a person, and he asked him different matters regarding the religion. The statement where he said, وَتَصُومَ رَمَضَانَ, and that you fast the month of Ramadan. So the Shaykh alayhi rahmatullah, he says, بِأَن تُمْسِكَ عَنِ الْمُفَطِّرَاتِ مِنْ طُلُوعِ الْفَجْرِ الثَّانِي إِلَى غُرُوبِ الشَّمْسِ تَعَبُّدًا لِلَّهِ تَعَالَى. So this is what's intended when you say you fast the month of Ramadan, that you abstain from those things that break the fast from the time that Fajr comes in until the sun sets. Ta'abbudan lillah. You're doing this to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, وَالْمُفَطِّرَاتْ أَيْضًا مَعْرُوفَةً لَا حَاجَةَ إِلَى ذِكْرِهَا. So he says, the things that break a person's fast, they are well known and there's no need to mention them. So perhaps the Shaykh alayhi rahmatullah, he was addressing people who are students of knowledge. So the vast majority of us, that's not the case. So we're going to go over al-mufattirat, the things that break the fast. What are some examples of things that break the fast? Eating and drinking, that's the most obvious. What else? Al-jima', intercourse. Now, what else?
Potentially brushing your teeth.
What is it?
Potentially brushing your teeth. The sugar sometimes in the toothpaste, they say.
Brushing your teeth?
Yeah, they say like the sugar in the toothpaste. What I read.
No. Unless a person is intentionally trying to swallow, that's. But we're just talking about the things that are. Umar. Huh? Bad words and sins. That's a good question. Do sins break the fast? Yes or no?
Yes.
Who said yes? You said yes? What's your proof?
It depends.
Yeah, what type of sins? Yeah. What type of sins are you talking about?
Let's say whispering.
Whispering? Backbiting. Does backbiting break the fast? No.
I say yes.
You say yes? ما دليلك؟
قال الرسول عليه الصلاة والسلام من لم يدع قول الزور وعمل به ليس لله حاجته يدع صيامه طعامه وشرابه.
هل هذا يعني أن الصوم غير صحيح؟
هو الرسول قال ليس لله يعني قد تكون أجر ما في.
أي طيب هذا هو. So with regard to sins and like backbiting, gossiping, major sins like that, it doesn't break the fast. It diminishes from the reward, but that which is correct is it does not break the fast.
So if someone run and draw blood?
Yes, that breaks the fast. And if a person, what do you call it? Like the hijama, like Iqbal be doing, that breaks the fast. The person who does it as well. If a person goes and has blood drawn, that breaks the fast. What else? No, if a person is taking like injections that give him nourishment, that breaks the fast as well. What else? It's two more things. We say intercourse, food and drink. Amdan. Nah. So if a person throws up on purpose, a person might say, why would a person throw up on purpose? You have some people, unfortunately, for example, might be anorectic or whatever the case is. If a person was to do that during the day, during Ramadan, it breaks the fast. What else? There's actually two more things after that. No. One is with regard specifically to women. The menses, postpartum bleeding. Those are two things right there. And one more thing. This is something, huh? We said postpartum bleeding. ايش هو؟ الاستمناء. نعم. So masturbation. Masturbation breaks the fast. So with regard to this, masturbation is haram in Ramadan and outside of Ramadan. So this is something that has to be highlighted. Allah Jalla wa Ala said, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ. Those who safeguard their chastity. إِلَّا عَلَىٰ أَزْوَاجِهِمْ أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ غَيْرُ مَلُومِينَ. Except from their wives and their right-hand possessions. There's no right-hand possessions in this day and time as far as I know of. فَإِنَّهُمْ غَيْرُ مَلُومِينَ. They're free of blame. فَمَنِ ابْتَغَى وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْعَادُونَ. Whoever exceeds that, they go beyond that, then they are the transgressors. So this is a proof and evidence that shows that it's not permissible, whether it's in Ramadan or outside of Ramadan. If a person, and a lot of the youth, they're afflicted with this, especially the youth, if they were to do this, they're incurring a sin, and then that fast they have to make up, and they have to refrain from eating or drinking the rest of that day. They have to refrain from eating or drinking. Say, for example, they did it in the beginning of the day. Now they have to refrain from eating and drinking, even though they have to make up that day, they still can't eat or drink. So it's something to be mindful of, especially for the youth. So those are the things, those 7 things right there that break the fast. So things I've been asked this question before, like when it comes to eye drops, ear drops, do those things break the fast or no? Yes or no? No, it does not break the fast. Eye drops, ear drops, these things do not break the fast. The nose drops, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best because it could go inside of the stomach. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. طيب. So the Shaykh, he says, after mentioning this, وَلَكِنْ نُنَبِّهَ عَلَى شَيْءٍ مُهِمٍ فِيهَا. So he says we're going to point something out that's important as it relates to the things that break the fast. أَنَّ الْمُفَطِّرَاتِ لَا تُفَطِّرَ الصَّائِمَ إِلَّا بِثَلَاثَةِ شُرُوطٍ. So if you have a piece of paper or if you have your phone, write this down. He said the things that break the fast do not break a person's fast except that 3 things are present. Or there's 3 conditions. The first one, أَنْ يَكُونَ عَالِمًا. The first thing is that person has to know. He has to know. وَأَنْ يَكُونَ ذَاكِرًا. He has to remember. وَأَنْ يَكُونَ مُرِيدًا. Right? He has to intend to do it. فَضِدُّ الْعَالِمِ الْجَاهِلِ. So the opposite of a person who's ignorant is a person, or the opposite of a person who knows is a person who's ignorant. فلو أكل الصائم يظن الليل باق ثم تبين أنه قد طلع الصبح وهو يأكل فحكم الصوم أنه صحيح. So if a person was fasting and he ate and he still thought it was dark, he thought it was night, right? He still thought it's before Fajr came in. Then it became clear to him that it was Fajr. Fajr had already came in. وهو يأكل, and he's still eating. Then the ruling for his fast is that it's correct. وَلَوْ أَكَلَ يَظُنُّ غُرُوبَ الشَّمْسِ ثُمَّ تَبَيَّنَ أَنَّهَا لَمْ تَغْرُبْ فَالصَّوْمُ صَحِيحٌ. And likewise, if a person is fasting and he eats and he thinks that the sun has set, then it becomes clear to him that the sun did not set. His fast is correct. وَدَلِيلُ ذَلِكَ مَا رَوَاهُ الْبُخَارِيُّ عن أسماء بنت أبي بكر رضي الله عنهما قالت أفطرنا في يوم غيم على عهد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ثم طلعت الشمس. So the proof and evidence for this is that which has been collected by Imam al-Bukhari on the authority of Asma bint Abi Bakr radiyallahu anhuma, she said that we broke our fast on a day that it was cloudy. We broke our fast on a day when it was cloudy in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. ثُمَّ طَلَعَتِ الشَّمْسِ. Then the sun appeared. What's the shahid? What's the point of reference? He says, وَلَمْ يَأْمُرْهُمْ بِالْقَضَاءِ. So the point of reference is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not command the companions to make up that day. So it was a cloudy day. So it wasn't like it is today where we have the watches and we know what time it is even if it's cloudy. So during those times they had to estimate. So the point is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not command them to make up that day. فَلَوْ كَانَ الْقَضَاء وَاجِبًا لَبَيَّنَهُ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. So if making up that day was something that was obligatory, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would have clarified this. وَلَنُقِلَ إِلَيْنَا. And it would have been narrated to us, or this would have been conveyed to us. لِأَنَّهُ إِذَا كَانَ وَاجِبًا لَكَانَ الْقَضَاء مِنْ شَرِيعَةِ اللَّهِ. And this is because if this was obligatory, if it was obligatory to make up that day, then this would be from the legislation of Allah. وَلَا بُدَّ أَنْ يُنْقَلْ. And it's imperative that this would have been narrated to us, or it would have reached us. وَهُوَ دَاخِلٌ فِي عُمُومِ قَوْلِهِ تَعَالَى رَبَّنَا لَا تُؤَاخِذْنَا إِن نَّسِينَا أَوْ أَخْطَأْنَا. And this is inclusive in the generality of the statement of Allah Ta'ala, the meaning of which, or our Lord, do not take us into account if we forget or if we make a mistake. وَقَوْلُهُ وَلَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ فِي مَا أَخْطَأْتُمْ بِهِ وَلَكِنْ مَا تَعَمَّدَتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ. And likewise, Allah Jalla wa Ala said the meaning of the verse, and there is no sin upon you for those things that you have made a mistake regarding. وَلَكِنْ مَا تَعَمَّدَتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ. But rather, that which your hearts intentionally did. That which your hearts intentionally did. ولو أكل غير مريد للأكل أو شرب غير مريد للشرب بأن كان مكرها فصيامه صحيح. And likewise, if a person ate something, he's fasting and he ate, and he did not intend to eat, or he drank something and he did not intend to drink, and the example he says is a person who's forced. He's forced. فَصِيَامُهُ صَحِيح. His fast is correct. What's an example of a person being forced? They're fasting, but they're being forced to eat or drink, or to do something else that is included in those things that invalidate the fast. What's an example of that? No, mukrah. Yeah. So what's an example of that?
Like getting hurt, you going to the hospital or something like that? Yeah. When you go to the hospital, there's certain things they probably do that you gotta do.
Take some medication or something like that.
And they're forcing you to do it?
I mean,
Or it's like safety
if they
reasons.
don't do it.
But are you forced though? It's a difference between mukrah and a person who has a choice. It's a difference. So the Shaykh, the example that he gives, he says, وَمِن ذَلِكَ أَن يُكْرَهَ الرَّجُلُ زَوْجَتَهُ فَيُجَامِعُهَا وَهِيَ صَائِمَةٌ. Right? An example of this is a man compels his wife to have relations, فَيُجَامِعُهَا وَهِيَ صَائِمَةٌ. Right? And he has relations with her, and she's fasting. Right? He's forcing her. فَلَيْسَ عَلَيْهَا شَيْءٍ لَا قَضَاء وَلَا كَفَّارَةٍ. So in that situation, it's nothing on her. Right? She doesn't have to make up that day, and there's no kafara, expiation for that day. The Shaykh, he says, هذه مهمة لأن كثيرا من الفقهاء يقولون إن الإنسان إذا أكل جاهلا بالوقت سواء من أول النهار أو آخره وجب عليه القضاء إذا تبين أنه قد أكل في النهار. He said this point right here is important. And I want to just point this out. What the Shaykh has mentioned, the things that we just mentioned, there's a difference of opinion amongst the scholars. So Ibn Uthaymeen alayhi rahmatullah, Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, they hold the same position. That if a person is ignorant regarding the time, for example, and he's going to make mention of this, he says many of the scholars, many of the fuqaha, many of the scholars of Islamic jurisprudence, they say if a person eats out of ignorance, because he doesn't know the time, right? He's ignorant of the time. Whether it's the beginning of the day or at the end of the day, it's obligatory upon him to make up that day. This is what most of the scholars say. And that's if it becomes clear to him that he ate during the daytime. But the proof and evidence that the Shaykh, rahimahullah ta'ala, mentioned was the hadith of Asma bint Abi Bakr, radiyallahu anhuma. She mentioned that in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we broke our fast on a cloudy day. It was a cloudy day. And then the sun appeared. The Prophet ﷺ did not command them to make up that day. So that's the proof and evidence to support this. At any rate, he says, وَلَكِنْ يُقَالْ إِنَّ الَّذِي شَرَعَ الصَّوْمِ لِلْعِبَادِ هُوَ الَّذِي رَفَعَ عَنْهُمُ الْحَرَجِ بِهَذِهِ الْأَعْذَارِ. He said, however, it can be said that the one who legislated fasting for his servants is the same one who has removed this difficulty by way of these excuses. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. It's just a short benefit and reminder. Because as we know, Ramadan is fastly approaching, and knowledge precedes statement and action. Knowledge is very crucial when it comes to every aspect of our lives, especially when it comes to ibadah. A person should be privy to those things that break the fast, those things that do not break the fast. So you're not going into Ramadan as a complete ignoramus. Sometimes it's blameworthy. Sometimes a person might be excused due to his ignorance, but it's still blameworthy. We live in 2024, 1445, and people can literally just go to the internet. A person who doesn't know anything, and you can find the answer to questions. So certain things is not befitting for a Muslim to be ignorant of. And certain things, if a person is ignorant of it, he's sinful. So we need to be aware of this, and we need to be trying to prepare for Ramadan. Be aware of the things that invalidate the fast. Be aware of the things that don't invalidate the fast. And try to go into Ramadan, inshallah ta'ala, to try to get the most benefit that you possibly can. And we'll suffice with this. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.